Once a star of an Auburn team that played in the national championship, former quarterback Nick Marshall is now in jail arrested on gun charges.
You know how some people in this life, no matter how much you try to help them and how good things are going for them, they somehow, someway find a way to screw it up? That's what Nick Marshall did here. The day is November 16th, 2013. Beautiful night on the plains. Not too cold and not too hot. Georgia is trailing 37-31. They need a touchdown. It's 4th and goal, and they're in what I would label as no man's land. They're on the 5-yard line. The reason I refer to it as no man's land because not really a great opportunity to run and get it in there, but also passing. Everything is scrunched up together. The quarterback for Georgia at the time, as you can see right here, is no other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray's going to drop back to pass here, and, well, I'll let him take it from here. Here's what happens next.
Murray with time. Now no time. Yes, he did.
Just like that, boom! Touchdown Georgia. Pending the extra point, they're about to take a 1-point lead over Auburn. Only a few plays later, after some terrible play calls and terrible plays in general, Auburn's looking at a 4th and 18. Quarterback drops back, throws the ball, and this happens next.
Let's it go.
Georgia player goes for interception, bounces right off of him, and luckily enough, lands in the Auburn wide receiver who is dead sprinting down the middle of the field. It's just one of those insane plays that college football fans are going to remember the rest of their life. Everything that could have went wrong for Georgia and had to go wrong, it did. Auburn goes on to win the game, and still to this day, one of, if not the craziest plays I've ever seen in my life. We now refer to that play as, and I think this is one of the best nicknames out there, the prayer in Jordan-Hare. Or is it the prayer at Jordan-Hare? I guess it depends who you're talking to, but either way, you get the point. But if you really keep up with college football, you don't just remember this play as, oh yeah, this was the play that helped Auburn beat Georgia. No. You remember this as the start, as one of the craziest endings and wildest endings to a season you've ever witnessed. Because without going into too much detail here, this was just the start of the chaos that would ensue the rest of the year for Auburn. But whoa, hold on. Back it up. Everybody talks about the prayer in Jordan-Hare, the kick six, etc. But what about the quarterback of that team? What about the guy who made the throw against Georgia? And what about the guy who led Auburn to the championship that year? I till this day believe he is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in Auburn football history. He was so good, and I mean so good, but here's the kicker with that. Ever since his glory days at Auburn, we haven't heard anything about him. And I know what you're sitting here thinking, well, Matt, it's probably nothing crazy. He attempted to go to the NFL, got cut a couple times, and it didn't work out. Like our old buddy Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. It's not quite as simple as that. This is Nick Marshall now. Yes, the guy you see on your screen with the neck tattoos. Same guy that threw the touchdown pass against Georgia. Let's just say that Mr. Nick Marshall hasn't been behaving himself too well off the field. It's really unfortunate because the only, and I mean the only person who has held Nick Marshall back from achieving his dreams is no other than Nick Marshall himself. In today's video, we're going to try to get to the bottom of all this and figure out what happened. This is the Nick Marshall story. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you are having a great and fantastic day. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And major shout out to, I'm not even just going to single out one person, but major shout out to everybody that has been requesting and recommending this video. This has been one of, if not the most highly requested videos on the channel, so I greatly appreciate you guys leaving the comments. Gonna keep this short and simple. I know you guys are ready to get into this, so am I. If you have any recommendations for videos like this in the future, feel free to leave a comment down below. Strap in, buckle up, get your popcorn, get you a snack, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing. But alright, Matt, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Unlike other stories we've covered on this channel, it doesn't take long for Nick Marshall's story to get really interesting. He played his high school football in the state of Georgia for Wilcox County High School. One thing you need to know about him that had come back into play later is he was an overall outstanding athlete. He did track and field in high school, he was a stud on the basketball court, but also, goes on being said, the football field as well. Coming out of high school, he wasn't even ranked as a quarterback, he was ranked as a cornerback. He was a 4-star recruit and had an overall scout grade of 92, that's really good. I think this is going to catch a lot of you by surprise because most people don't know this. Nick Marshall committed and signed with Georgia in high school, and that's where he first went. It seemed like at first glance, Marshall was going to be a cornerback for Georgia and have an outstanding career. However, as we all know, that didn't happen. The reason it didn't happen is because he got kicked off of the team. The only thing that was ever said about it is he was dismissed, kicked off, whatever word you want to throw in there, from Georgia for quote-unquote violating team rules. Here's what Mark Richt, head coach at the time, had to say. It's a privilege to play college football and to be a part of this team in university. Along with that privilege comes certain responsibilities. Mistakes were made, and part of our job is helping them learn from mistakes. Going forward, we are committed to assisting them find opportunities where they can continue their education. To give you some context and perspective here, for those of you who don't know how Mark Richt did things at Georgia, this wasn't anything new. I'm not going to say he had zero tolerance for off-the-field issues and problems, but it was close to it. According to multiple different reports and sources, the reason he was kicked off is because he got caught stealing money. Where did he steal this money? Don't know. When did it happen? What was all the details? Still to this day, we don't know. We're all left in the dark. I would like to assume, though, it had to be a pretty hefty amount of money and just an overall bad situation for him to get kicked off. When Marshall got kicked off of Georgia, obviously, it goes without being said, that was devastating to him. So the following day, he met up with his former high school head coach. Here's what his coach had to say, quote unquote. We met at the school. We got in the truck and rode and had us a talk. He was completely honest with me. What he told me was what the Georgia coaches had told me. He was completely honest, but he was remorseful. This is when, according to his head coach, Marshall stated, Coach, I want to go to junior college. I want to play quarterback, and I want to come back to the SEC. You could say he sort of manifested that because it's exactly what happened. Marshall decided to go to Garden City Community College. For this college, I think it's more than safe to say he had a pretty good season, was a starting quarterback, and had over 3,000 passing yards with over 1,000 rushing yards and 37 total touchdowns. His dual threat ability was on full display, and similar to when he was coming out of high school, all these colleges, the offers, they started pouring in. A lot of schools were recruiting him, but remember, he wanted to come back to the SEC, so it didn't shock anybody when he announced that he was going to commit and sign with Auburn. When Nick Marshall arrived to Auburn in 2013, and this is a part of the story that doesn't get talked about enough, they were coming off of a miserable 3-9 season with Gene Chizik. They just fired him, and now they got the new head coach, Gus Malzahn, taking over. That offseason in 2013, there was a heated quarterback competition, but Marshall came out on top. He took over the reins in week 1 and really didn't look back. Auburn was having a really good season outside of the 35-21 loss to LSU, but LSU was still a really good team at the time. But after the LSU game, they run off 6 straight wins, and you look up, Auburn's 9-1 heading into the Georgia game. And at the time, you didn't think too much about it because Alabama was dominating the SEC West and dominating college football in general. Not the following week, they had a bye week. 2 weeks later, they upset Alabama with the kick 6. Crazy 2-week span, but one thing I've always thought about back then and even till this day is if Auburn would have lost to Georgia, even with the win over Alabama, Alabama would have won the tiebreaker and still made it to the SEC championship. And that's why I always thought the Georgia game might be a bigger win than the Alabama game just due to that alone. Because if Auburn would have lost to Georgia, they wouldn't have made the SEC championship that year. I digress. Continuing along, after the amazing Alabama win, they're riding on all-time high. Really, after the Georgia game, you're playing with house money. They continue the hot streak and they beat Missouri in the championship game. They match up with the Florida State Seminoles in the national championship game, and they come up short 34-31. That's when Florida State had that really good team with Jameis Winston leading them. There was good and bad news. The bad news is you lost the national championship. Even if you weren't supposed to win the game, there's no good thing that can come out of that. However, the good news was Nick Marshall's coming back for another season in 2014. Auburn fans are like, well, dang, we weren't even supposed to be that great this year. We made it to the championship game. 2014 is going to be great too. That was not the case though, and I mean this in the most respectful way. All that Auburn luck, I guess you could say it ran out. They used up all of their magic in that one year in 2013, because in 2014 they finished 8-5. Although Auburn kind of took a backward step in 2014, Nick Marshall was still really good. Increased his completion percentage, had way more passing yards, had more passing touchdowns, and only one more INT. On the ground, had close to 800 rushing yards with 11 touchdowns. When the 2014 season wrapped up, Marshall declared for the NFL draft, and there was a lot of hope for him. Heading into the NFL draft, he did announce that he would officially be switching over to cornerback, which I think was a pretty smart move. Like I said earlier, he was a talented athlete, and this was the right decision to make. He wasn't a very accurate passer, and he more than likely wasn't going to get a legit shot as a quarterback in the NFL. The bad part about switching over to a cornerback right before the draft, really heading into it, is you didn't play cornerback in college. You played quarterback, so there's no game film. Sure, you can look good in the drills, practices, and so on, but you just lack the game field. It comes down to this. Why would you select a guy who is just now starting to play cornerback outside of high school, but heading into the NFL, he's just now picking up the position again, where you can get another guy who played it for 2 or 3 years in college? For that reason right there, that's why I think he went undrafted in the 2015 NFL Draft. Wasn't all bad though, because shortly after, he did get signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars as a free agent. Nothing really happened for the Jaguars, didn't play too much. In October of 2016, he was signed by the New York Jets. In April of 2017, this is when Marshall's NFL career would come to an end. He was suspended 4 games for testing positive for PEDs, which is performance-enhancing drugs. Right after that incident, the Jets, they released him. This is when Marshall came to the executive decision, you know what, probably not going to play in the NFL, probably going to bounce from practice squad to practice squad, so I'm going to try my luck elsewhere. In November of 2017, he signed to the Arizona Rattlers of the IFL, which is the Indoor Football League. Didn't really have a good stint over there, wasn't too fond of it. In 2018, he signed with the CFL, which is a Canadian football league. He was with the Rough Riders for a long time. I'll show you some of his numbers right here. From 2018 up until 2023, had 3 interceptions one year, 5, 3, 4, and 5. As you can see, he had a nice little decent career and stint with them, which is unique because normally in these videos like this, when these guys are bouncing from the Arena Football League to the Indoor Football League to the CFL, they're only there for a year or two, but he was there for a solid 5 or 6 years. But you know how some people in this life, no matter how much you try to help them and how good things are going for them, they somehow, some way find a way to screw it up? That's what Nick Marshall did here. He had a good thing going, but he just trashed it because in 2023, he was arrested. This arrest led to the Rough Riders releasing him. The police reportedly found a modified automatic handgun in Marshall's car. It was stated, quote unquote, Marshall had possession of a sawed-off shotgun, sawed-off rifle, dangerous weapon, or silencer. Here's my big question. Not that I guess it's any of my business, I'm just curious. Why did he have all that? I know some people are going to say, well, Matt, he's trying to protect himself. I get that, and I'm for that, but a shotgun, a rifle, and what's labeled as, they didn't even throw it in there, just a dangerous weapon, and a silencer? I mean, what are we doing? I have no idea what a sawed-off shotgun and a sawed-off rifle is. You know, let's just look it up together. All right, here we go. What is the point of a sawed-off shotgun? Compared to a standard shotgun, the sawn-off shotgun has a shorter effective range due to a lower muzzle velocity. However, its reduced length makes it easier to maneuver and conceal. All right, so I guess it's nothing crazy. I don't know why. I was thinking like sawed off meant like he, I don't know, made some modifications to it, like he sawed off. I know it's going to sound dumb, but like he sawed off the serial number or the number that's on the gun, something like that. I'm not a gun expert, so don't come at me in the comment section. The point is, he got arrested. And yeah, that's it. His career's over. End of story. Obviously, I'm playing. We're not going to end it off that way. But no, like on a serious note here, that's been the end of his football career. He hasn't played since because no team wants to fool with him. Well, actually, hold on, partner. Wait a minute here. I have found, I don't know if this is him, but just putting some context clues together, I think it might be him. This is a private Instagram, and it was hard to find because he doesn't even put his name on there. It's 3IG0 or O gun. I don't know what that stands for. 3I Go gun, maybe? I have no idea. In his bio, it states ATH, which is athlete for the West Texas Desert Hawks. CFL All-Star, and that's why I think it's him. All-time pick six interception record holder, Nick Marshall Jr., Noah Marshall. Okay, I don't know what that is. I guess it's some brothers or sisters. Or maybe it might be his kids. I didn't think about that. This Instagram is private, so we can't really see too much. But yeah, I guess according to him, he's playing for the West Texas Desert Hawks. So yeah, that's where Nick Marshall's at. And let's address the 2 questions we normally ask when we have a wishy-washy or iffy situation. Number 1, why didn't things work out for Nick Marshall? Well, fairly obvious. He couldn't get out of his own way, period, the end. I know some people are going to try to argue, well, Matt, he wasn't going to get a legit shot as a quarterback or cornerback in the NFL regardless of him taking the drugs, the PEDs, when he was in the NFL. I hear you. It's a good argument, a fair argument, but here's my rebuttal. He didn't put himself in the best position to succeed. By messing up, you ruin all opportunities. At least if you stay out of trouble, you got a decent shot of making it. At least if you stay out of trouble, even if you're bouncing from practice squad to practice squad and team to team, you're going to have a shot. Whereas if you just get kicked off, no shot. That's why it didn't work out in the NFL, and I'm really fascinated to see what you guys got to say about this one and your thoughts on it. Is Nick Marshall a winner or a loser? What I do like about him is when he messes up, he normally responds in good fashion, and that's how I judge a winner. It's not about being a college superstar. It's not about making it to the NFL and being the greatest football player of all time. Winning sometimes is how you respond to things. And I say it's interesting because it's almost like every 6 to 7 years, he has a major incident. Got kicked off his college football team, which is huge, then got caught taking drugs in the NFL, and then about 6 years later, he's got this whole gun charge situation. I'm leaning more towards the side of I think he's a winner. He's most definitely not a loser. He strikes me as a person who just occasionally makes a bad decision. Outside of the Georgia thing where he got caught stealing some money, the past 2 incidents, it's not like he's being a menace to society. He had some guns in his car, okay, big deal. It doesn't mean he was going to go rob a bank or rob a person. Then you had the whole thing with the Jets taking the PEDs. Like, come on, man, that's not a big deal either. To Nick Marshall, if you're somehow, some way seeing this video, my brother, I'm wishing the best of luck, and I hope you continue to see a lot of success. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But, Roman.